Hi guys, it's Walt. Um, gonna start a different game tonight. Another older game for the rest of the world. New game for me. Going to play uh, Call of Juarez Gunslinger. I keep hearing about it. When I'm on YouTube looking at game stuff, it keeps coming up as an underappreciated game, and I took a look at it. I think it will be fun. Certainly has a lot of action in it, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. Um, I went in and I set my controls and watched the opening cinematic, for lack of a better word, and I thought it was really interesting. Decided it might be worth making a recording of that opening segment because it does bring in a little bit of real world American history as the game begins. Game starts in 1910 in Abilene, I believe, Kansas, which is at the very, very, very tail end of the era of the cowboy and the Wild West. May have actually even been over by then. It's generally considered that the end of the Civil War, 1865, is when the era of the cowboy began and ended 1895, but some people will say early 20th century, so 1902, 1905. This takes place in 1910, so it's right at the very tail end, if in fact it's still in the era of the cowboy. But anyway, I thought it was really interesting the way they depicted this opening. You'll see the lead character, Silas Greaves, come in on horseback and nearly get run over by an automobile. So you got two different times, modern times and Old West times, kind of clashing right at the very beginning of this game. And I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to record that opening so that we can refer back to it if somebody comes in late or just wants to watch the opening, which I think is really interesting. So here is Call of Juarez. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. It is Abilene, Kansas. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't 100% sure when I said it a moment ago.
Easy, boy.
There you go. Modern era, modernish era, and the cowboy era clashing. The Bull's Head Saloon.
Don't I know you, sir?
Don't believe so. I haven't been here in many years. Name's Silas Greaves.
Silas Greaves? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
Well, what are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through. Got a little business to take care of.
Well, sir, it would be an honor if you would allow me to buy you a beer.
Hell, son, it would be my honor to drink it.
I'm Molly. Howdy.
I'm Dwight. That's Jack and Steve. Ben's behind the bar. Oh, I bet you got some great stories.
A couple.
Any of them true?
Jack, be nice.
A few.
What about your shootout with Henry Plummer's gang in Bannock, Montana? Is that where you started as a bounty hunter? That's what it says in this here dime novel.
Don't believe everything you read in them dime novels, boy. First man I hunted was back when I was riding with Billy the Kid.
You knew Billy the Kid?
Damn right. That scrawny son of a bitch had no fear. Wouldn't back down for nobody.
I heard he collected the 10 stars off any crooked lawman who crossed him.
It was a war, boy. The Lincoln County War. And Billy promised his regulators would take the life of every bastard who helped bushwhack John Tunstall.
Kid had a big chip on his shoulder and a hair-trigger temper. Made him dangerous as hell.
Silas Greaves arrived in Abilene in 1910, claiming he had ridden with Billy the Kid as a young man. His first chapter is called Once Upon a Time in Stinking Springs. So that's the opening.
It was about 30 years ago. Billy was hiding out in an abandoned farm near Stinking Springs. I threw in with the kid because the man I had sworn vengeance on was riding with Billy's enemies. But before I tell you why I want that sumbitch dead, let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this funny feeling.
Funny, haha?
No, Steve. The other kind of funny.
I like how the color just kind of fades in slowly here. And now it looks more or less like the rest of the game is going to look. It started out very gray, sepia toned, and kind of faded into full color. So the other couple of things I thought was really interesting about that. First of all, the character who questions whether Silas has any stories that are actually true. That character is drawn very much like the character is depicted in the show Deadwood. The character who ultimately killed Wild Bill Hickok had the same kind of hat, had the same scruffy beard, had the same droopy eye, which I guess is based in history in terms of the actual guy who killed Wild Bill. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing I found interesting, first of all, this all takes place around the time of the Lincoln County Wars, which were actual range wars, which involved Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, John Chisholm, a whole variety of big names in the West, out in the New Mexico territory. Another thing I found really interesting, though, is when they start talking about this, the man behind the bar, the bartender, Ben, seems to know quite a bit about it. He knows quite a bit about the Lincoln County Wars, which makes me wonder, is that going to come back sometime later in this game, that his knowledge perhaps was gotten firsthand? So I'm going to continue playing Call of Juarez on my stream. I'm going to start that in just a little while, but I wanted to record this opening segment and get this on here. I think it'd be interesting for people to go back and look at. So that's that, and I hope to see you shortly. Thanks, guys.